Hey Rick, I'm sorry that this has happened to you, and I'll expound on what I have to say in a few moments. But first, I need to say that your voice has never been so sweet in singing, even if it is for an unfortunate reason. But here's your image of the Scottish Smurf Award for actually singing it with all your heart. And here comes the rest. Um, Look, you won't die. It'll feel somewhat crappy for a little while. The reason why I'm telling you this is because I used to be married. I was married for almost 8 years. And things took a sour note after many challenges started becoming mountains. And we couldn't go over them. It was an issue of culture and also distance that threw us apart because she was Mexican of origin and I'm Canadian. I didn't want to move from Moncton, New Brunswick. She wanted to move. After 6 months of fighting, I somewhat condescended. I did tell her specifically that I would not promise anything. We had a lot of items that we needed to work out and we needed to get rid of before we moved on with our lives. Or before we moved on to a newer life. So we came up with this plan where she would move back to Mexico and I'd help her move, and after a week there I'd come back and spend about 2 years here taking care of the house, getting rid of the mortgage, getting rid of the car lease on the Yaris, and move. Except she became desperate about having me back with her, and we weren't on the best of terms at the time, and I gave her a fair warning after a month that if she calls me again and tells me that she wants me to move to Mexico now, that I'm staying in Canada and I'm staying here, and we'll settle up the difference afterwards. And that's exactly what happened. During this period of time, it took me 2 months of therapy, reality therapy, to actually analyze everything. And all reality therapy is asking questions to oneself with a therapist that asks questions that are quite obvious, but that we don't look in the eye and that we don't want to answer because it's the hardest thing to be able to do. It's to answer. The truth always hurts, even coming from ourselves. So the question is for you, or questions could be the following: Are you satisfied with the way the relationship ended? Were you happy with her? Did each of you make each other happy, or was there points of contention that tended to become somewhat frustrating to the point of losing patience and losing one's anger? There's too many things that can happen. There's always the monetary issue that tends to throw marriages apart. There's the trust or relationship issue. There's the equal balance of power and independence that a relationship needs. It becomes burdensome on one's soul, when one's heart, and when you're giving everything that you have to give. And here I'm talking as the devil's advocate because I don't know enough about your relationship with your ex-beau to say anything really meaningful, except that if one person was giving more than another, it tends to provide an unfortunate breeding ground for frustration, and it envenoms the soul in such a fashion that you start dying little by little from the inside out. Rick, I'm really sorry to see you this way. I really, really hope that you'll reach out to anyone that you wish to talk to. If you ever need to reach out to me, be my guest. I'll be here for New Year's Eve, and more than likely I'll be doing a blog TV show to pass the time. So, well, there's this I can give you as an additional reward. Love batters and bruises in many ways and shapes and forms. Some are felt, some are seen, some are unfelt and unseen, but hurt, even worse, or kill. Figuratively speaking, of course. Here's your image of the survival smurf, or I forget what I actually call them. These cascadeur smurf. Cascadeur is somebody who does stunt. There we go, stuntman smurf. But this is more than just a stunt. It's real life. So yeah, you kind of get my gist about the feelings here. That's it. I can't say more because I have no more knowledge to impart. If I could know more about the situation, I'd be able to give you more details as to what I think about the situation and what my personal opinion or experience could provide. But here's something that might make you cringe at the word love. I've never been good at relationships. My relationships stemmed from my first date, which lasted 2 days. Literally. We saw each other on a Friday night, and then Sunday she wanted to talk to me, and she said, I've got to talk to you about something. And right then and there I knew what she was talking about. That was my first relationship. Second relationship, the relationship started somewhere around Christmas and ended in February on Valentine's Day. That one lasted 4 weeks. And then another one that started the year after during Valentine's Day ended 2 weeks later. So as you can see, I'm not fit for many women, but it's just that in these particular circumstances, all three had one thing in common. One of them was using me as well, actually, they didn't have that in common. One of them was using me as a jealousy tool to make her ex fall in love with her again, and he eventually never got married with her, and she ended up being a soul crazy Catwoman, as far as I understand it. Another one was just studying at university. Her parents were older than my parents. They had her very young or adopted her. I can't remember the situation, but I do know that she didn't want to get involved seriously with anyone more older than she was by about 5 years, due to the fact that she wanted to continue university and she didn't want to have any issues moving from one place to another. And another one was just not liking the relationship because it was too much for her. So there you go. Those were my relationships, all in a nutshell. I have a better rapport with the current girlfriend I have right now, the one that you already know, Blog Princess. Long distance, we get to chat, we get to know each other, we get to talk about things that we all should be able to talk about before we get involved into a physical relationship. And while the other relationships never went really physical, apart from kissing and snuggling, and that's pretty much it. So, that said, Rick, just private message me if you need a shoulder. Have a nice one.